Hey, look! I'm still this dumb dragon asshole. I forgot about that. Oh well, doesn't matter. Any hoozles. First thing that I want to do is I want to go to the Darkmoon tomb real quick. Because I'm gonna go speak to my boy Gwendolyn. Because I should have 1 billion souvenirs of reprisal to give to him. Yeah, I sure do.
Very well, Blade of the Dark Moon. Please state thy wish.
Let's enter a covenant with Gwendolyn. Yay!
Very well. Now thou art a Blade of the Dark Moon, hunteth the enemies of the Lords by the power of the Dark Sun.
I totally will, but in the meantime, let's offer 1 billion souvenirs of reprisal to Gwendolyn, as this is how you'd have to do it in Dark Souls 1. It's really unfortunate that I can't just go like, hey, I got 99 of these, here you go. We gotta do it one at a time. So, while we are waiting, I'll go ahead and tell you guys that I did level my character up just a bit more. I leveled him up enough so that I would be able to cast any spell and any miracle, along with having max attunement slots, because why not? That, and gave him enough strength so I'd be able to wield any weapon. That way, if I want to show off anything else that I haven't shown off already, in regards to a spell you haven't seen, or a miracle that might look cool, or, I don't know, using one of the bigger, heavier weapons, I can do so. Because why not? It's not going to affect too much. I guess it'll affect how much damage I do. Oh well. Deal with it. Not a big deal in my eyes, considering the fact that... Alright, good, we got those. Just 30 more. Anyway, it's, I don't believe that this gives me anything for Tier 2. I know for a fact it doesn't give anything for Tier 3. Just to be safe, I'm going to Tier 2 of this Covenant, and then we'll look at the stuff I just got right afterwards. Right. Anyway, concerning leveling my stats up and stuff, I don't think it matters all that much, considering the fact that I was already plenty strong enough to take on the world and rush it. Like, the only things that were really killing me were gravity or accidentally getting gangbanged from both sides, so, no big deal, right? Right. As for where we're going right now, if you guys haven't read the title, shame on you for not reading the title. Reading is something you should definitely do. But we're going to be starting off with the Tomb of the Giants as the next area. For those of you wondering what areas we have left to go, we have to do the Tomb of the Giants, we have to go through the Duke's Archives and all the way to Seath. We have a couple of side things to do, and then all we have to do is go through the Kiln of the First Flame and finish off the game. But in order to do all of that, and because there's a lot of stuff I plan on talking about today, I wanted to get this Covenant thing out of the way with Gwendolyn right away, because it's the last Covenant thing that I'm going to do. Oh, no, it's not. I still have to do Nito's Covenant, because I never did that. Okay, it's the second to last Covenant thing I have to do. We'll have to go speak with Big Daddy Nito before I murder him. I just wanted to get this one out of the way because I do like the Blade of the Dark Moon buff. I might use it here or there. And I wanted to get the items so that we could take a peek at the descriptions real quick. Only 30 more hours before we're done leveling up the Covenant. Hey, look, rank gained. We got nothing. Good. Okay, good. I'm glad we did that extra time. So, let's go to the Darkmoon Blade Miracle. That's one of the things we got for getting to rank 1 of the Covenant, which is just 10 souvenirs of reprisal. Miracle granted to those bound by the covenant to Gwendolyn, Lord Gwyn's last-born. Boost the right weapon with Rays of Darkmoon. The power of the Rays of the Darkmoon are manifested in vengeance, and the deeper the animus, the more devastating the attack. For anyone that doesn't know, animus is pretty much hatred, anger, rage, etc. That's basically what that means. Anyway, it's boosted with Rays of Darkmoon, so this would have to be, or at least you would think it would be, connected to sorceries, considering that, well, we'll talk about Gwendolyn a lot more, but he is very deeply connected to sorceries. Very deeply connected to sorceries and not connected to miracles by much other than this. It's the only real thing. Anyway, this is very telling about Gwendolyn, as he is Gwyn's last-born, which means that Gwyn has at least 3 children that go in the way of Gwyn's firstborn, Guinevere, Gwendolyn, as the possible kids that he has. What's up, Timnu? Alright, we also got a talisman. It's actually the best talisman in the game if you have a shit ton of faith. The Darkmoon Talisman. Medium for casting miracles of the gods, granted to Darkmoon Blade Knights, adherents to the covenant of the Dark Sun Gwendolyn. This talisman demands dutiful faith from its owner, but has very high miracle adjustment. Which is quite true. It has an A scaling in faith. Its base magic adjust is really low, but if you have a bunch of... But it scales the best out of all of the talismans. It scales just a tiny bit more than the Sunlight Talisman that you can get off of Solaire. So it's slightly better. By the way, what do I have that when I can have that? Oh, yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna go back to Firelink, because we have to go into the catacombs and then into the Tomb of the Giants for what we're going to be doing today. Oh yeah, while I'm here, go ahead and attune some magic. The max attunement slots, for anyone wondering, is 10. You can have 10 attunement slots at any given time, which takes 50 attunement to get all the way up there. You will never need 10 attunement slots. Like, I'm using 7 right now, and I have no idea what else I would put in here. I guess this. Oh, sure, let's get Dark Bead in there because OP. OP. And whatever, I don't care. I'm probably not going to use most of the magic anyway. So, our theme for our outfit today, the reason I didn't just murder myself by jumping off a cliff and stop being Dragon Man, and the reason I have a dragon weapon out, is because we are going to get revenge for the dragons on Gravelord Nito by murdering him as a dragon. Or at the very least, we're going to get to him as a dragon. Maybe. Possibly. The path to Nito is kind of really, really brutal. And the fight with Nito is really bad if you have no armor. Like, say, you're wearing a bunch of dragon bullshit instead of having armor. It's a bad idea. But, because I am full of bad ideas and love making bad ideas happen, we'll roll with it for a little while. So, first things first, I do have somebody to talk to before I, move on all the way down there. Let's just take the fast route. Let's take the fast route down there, because I can. I mean, I could have also just hit that, platform on the way down. It would have been fine. Oh, come on, you guys aren't gonna... Okay, you are. Fuck off. I have too much stability for you. Alright, fuck you guys. Alright, we have to talk with Vamos, because we have a present.
Why? Is that an ember from New Londo? And a fine ember it be. What do you say? Why not leave it with me? I'll give you a flame to feast your eyes upon.
Man, his voice is so fucking loud. So the large flame ember, he wants that. This will allow us to make flame weapons out of +5 weapons if we want to. I mean, why not?
Yes, very well. We'll get these old bones to work.
Wong, wong.
I've told you, if I have anything to offer speaking, unless I have the flame of that legendary witch.
Oh, really?
That will require a visit to Lost Isolith. Impossible.
Possible, huh? Possible.
What was that about? Don't be coming around.
Impossible to get that flame, huh? Hey, vamos.
That then? Need some smithing, then produce me. Well, what was that?
Hold on, don't I have that? I should have that with me. Oh, did I not pick it up? Positive I did. Let's see, that should be the Demon Ruins, right? Oh, right. Right. Now that I think about it. I never did grab that, did I? I completely forgot about that. Well, this will just take a moment. An extra stop to be made. Who knew? Where is it? Oh, darn. Anyway, we're gonna need the orange shard ring. The reason that I don't have the flame is I never took the time to go grab the 2 items that were in the lava after we cleared Ceaseless Discharge. No big deal. It won't take but a moment. We'll murder the crap out of any Taurus demons if they happen to be around, and then we'll go grab our Chaos Flame. But looks like I was right, and whoever told me I was wrong, and there are no Taurus demons out there to kill. Easy peasy. In that case, I'm gonna unequip these because they're really heavy and they slow us down. Man, the dragon run looks so stupid. I gotta say, the dragon form is done really poorly in all of the Souls games. It's completely ineffectual for the most part, and it looks kind of stupid in each one. But it probably looks the best in this one. Except for when you drink Estus and you drink out of your neck. But, you know, that's that. Oh, come on, let me up. Let me up. Is it this side? There it is. Alright, Large Soul Proud Knight. Okay, that's completely useless. Who cares? Here we go. This is what we're looking for. My eyes! Alright, Chaos Flame Ember. Yeah. Burning. I don't care. Alright, we'll go back to Vamos in just a moment, but let's take a look at that Chaos Flame Ember. Ember required for weapon ascension. Chaos Flame Ember is an art of the lost city of Isolith, handled only by blacksmiths knowledgeable in ancient methods. Ascends a +5 flame weapon to a chaos weapon, which can then be reinforced +5. Chaos weapons are demon weapons augmented by humanity, which inflict fire damage. So, they do bonus fire damage, but for some reason they are powered by humanity, and the more humanity you have, the stronger your Chaos Flame is. It makes about 0 cents, but hey, whatever. I went over upgrade paths and stuff very early on in this series, and how much of a huge fucking mess they are. And how a lot of stuff in the upgrade paths just don't make any sense whatsoever, and that's one of them. The fact that chaos weapons are powered by humanity. Mainly because the the witches of Izalith aren't humans, they're witches, and the art of the Chaos Flame and everything like that is all connected to the witches of Izalith. So if anything, it would be connected to ancient pyromancies, which were beyond what humans could do. Even humans that can do pyromancies couldn't possibly do what ancient pyromancies truly are. So really, it's just a gameplay mechanic, I'd say. Because whatever, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just something they didn't think about too hard. Add it to the list. Add it to the long, long list of things that they didn't think about very hard. Lore-wise, at least. It's no big deal. I'm probably gonna have to deal with these jerks. Alright, come on. 2 of them. Okay. Alright, I'm glad we reached a resolution there, Bone Wheel guys.
Why, that's an ember unlike any that I have seen. A very curious pattern. Could it be the flame of the legendary witch? I know. Suppose you left that ember with me. Old Vamos would never let you down. No, not ever.
No, not ever. So, one thing about the Chaos Flame Ember, when we looked at it earlier, you notice it was... like, all of the embers come in a little neat square box, and the Chaos Flame Ember kind of broke its way out of that neat square little box because it's chaotic. Just a visual thing that's interesting. Alright, let's give it to him. Oh, he's so happy.
Yes, splendid. Splendid indeed. My, oh my. You precious little thing.
He sounds like he's gonna have sex with the ember or something. That's fucking kinda creepy.
I've told you. But that would...
Wait, I just gave it to you.
I've told you. But... well, what was that about?
I just gave you the flame, jerk. If I talk to him, is he still gonna say that? I don't think so.
I've told you. If I haven't, speaking honestly, I must say that... but...
well, never mind. I've given it to him. He's got nothing else to say. So concerning Vamos, there is one thing I'd like to look at. Let's look at this Hammer of Vamos. This is one of the things that he drops upon death. Metal Hammer of Vamos, a skeleton blacksmith deep within the catacombs who rarely speaks. Can be used as a strike weapon, but better left in the hands of its talented owner. So it says nothing about him. There is another item he drops on death that says a lot about him, though. Says a whole lot about him.
Trying to cause trouble, are you? I am Vamos the Blacksmith.
And you'll notice that his weapon that of choice to actually use is a pickaxe, and he likes doing that little spinny move quite a bit. That's like his main move. This guy's obviously no warrior, and he's got those cute little, almost skeletal bone beard thing. And he's really fat. Like, he is literally big boned. You missed. Sir, you missed. Sir? Sir, you missed. Sir. There we go. He's really bad at this. Alright.
Curses.
And then he explodes into bones, like the idiot that he is. Alright. Hammer of Vamos and the Royal Helm, which for some reason I could not find a way to cheat into the game. But whatever, here we go. Let's go find that Royal Helm. It should be down here, because this gives us a lot more information about Vamos. Helm of Vamos, the skeleton blacksmith of the catacombs, partially made of gold and confers high resistance overall. The helm is believed to belong to an ancient royal line, but only Vamos would know for sure, and he shall never speak again, although he speaks quite often. I guess he'll never speak of it again. Anyway, it looks kind of like traditional ceremonial Viking in nature. Actual Viking helmets didn't really use the horns on their around the head for like combat helmets because it's kind of unwieldy and stupid. But they did have ceremonial helmets like that, and this seems to be one of them. I mean, it's made of gold, which means that, or partially made of gold, which means that it would likely be used in some sort of ritualistic thing and not used for any actual combat. And it kind of points that maybe Vamos himself was royalty in his own life before he became this big old happy jolly skeleton blacksmith guy. And now he's dead. Rip Vamos. I think I'll heal because I'm scared of bone wheel skeletons. And there should be a couple more to attack us over here. Hey, look, there's one. Bye. Oh, there's another one coming. But I think I'm outrunning him. All right, cool. Yeah, that's just a neat little interesting thing about Vamos that I thought you guys might like to hear about. Is that he might have been royalty at some point, which is why he has that helm. So, interesting thing about Pinwheel's little area here. Originally on that table was not a skeleton, even though he's got all these skeleton bones hanging around here. Originally on that table, a long, many moons ago, was actually our good friend Petrus of Thorland. Which means that, at some point, Petrus was... I think he was supposed to be a covenant leader of some sort, or at the very least, he was supposed to be originally the one that gives you the Rite of Kindling, which means that the Rite of Kindling was either stolen by Petrus or was a part of the Way of White originally, before they changed it and just made you get it for killing Pinwheel. Which new game am I? New game. New games. Man, this is complete new game. So yeah, just an interesting thing. There's some cut dialogue from Petrus that suggests that. Oh, man. Let's change you to you. Tomb of the Giants. So we've been here before. A long time ago, I came here very early into the game in order to save Rhea and her band of dumbasses. Means I've grabbed all of the stuff that we can pick up on this way, all the way up to, see, nothing on there, all the way up to the first bonfire. So I don't really have to take a whole lot of time messing around with that. We can just kind of go right to it. Let's go. Ow. Jackass. Double jackass. Fuck you. Alright, I'm leaving. I have no more business with you, sir. Oh, I guess I didn't grab that thing. That's about it, though. And a bonfire's right over here. Already lit and everything. I think I'm gonna kindle this. Actually, no. There's another bonfire that I'll use for that. By the way, that item that's sitting up there, I'm not going to grab it because it is nothing important. It is quite literally some souls. And Patches is still down here. Hey, bud.
Wrong, but I didn't mean it. These temptations, they can overcome me. You know what I mean, don't you? Please, forgive me.
Nuh-uh. Like that light in your face, Patches? Fucking, well, I guess in your chest, really. Anyway, level 305 a new game? Yep. Sure am. I leveled myself up a lot so that I could be able to do anything and everything in the game. Speaking of doing anything and everything in the game, I'm actually going to take a seat over here real quick because, I do want to show that there are multiple ways to light up this area. I should have the miracle up here somewhere. Be around here, right? Cast light. There we go. Let's just grab any old talisman. So, we can either light the area up with this, or with... Am I not allowed to cast light with that? I'm confused. Why can't I cast light? What? Hold on. Oh, I should totally be able to cast light. There'd be no problems with this whatsoever. let me take a double check at this. Light producing, blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait, this is magic. What am I doing? Being stupid. I can totally cast this. I'm just being an idiot. Which... Need a catalyst. Spell, not a miracle. Gaslight's a spell. I know, guys. I'm a stupid. Izalith Catalyst is good. Beatrice's Catalyst is also good. Give me Beatrice's. I like Beatrice's Catalyst. It's neat. Anyway, whoops. We can use Cast Light. Or which gives us literally the exact same amount of light as the Sunlight Maggot, which unfortunately I can't put on because I have this dumb dragon head. Or we could use, you know, these skulls, which also give us the little light there. And those are our 3 different ways to light up the area. I guess technically I could, like, cast Pyromancies. Ow. Ow. So these guys are going to be huge pains in my ass. These bone dog things are going to really suck to fight. Because I have no armor. Because I'm a dragon. Dragons don't need no armor. Hey, Chigali, what's up? So, it's, normally... actually, no. I was about to say something dumb, but it's finally time to traverse this fog gate. Oh, and the Black Knight's aggroed. Cool. That's gonna make life a lot easier. I don't have to go to him. He will come to me. Since I'm a dragon, I can totally cast spells if I want to. Black Knight, hello. There he is. Hey, buddy. He's a halberd knight, right? Yeah. Get over here, son. You killed my ancestors, the dragons. And now I will kill you. Come on. Ow. Wow, that was a big-ass wind-up. R2! Alright, he's dead. Goodbye. Oh, cool, I got his halberd. I was not expecting that. Oh, well. Alright, you, sir, come here. Don't you fall apart on me like that. Outside of my lock-on range. Ow. Yeah, so these guys are really fucking cheap-ass enemies because they can easily get counter hits on you. Song quest on? Nope, not at all. Otherwise, music would be going. Anyway, normally I come through here, if I'm playing casually, I will grab a spear to go with my shield so that I can get counter hits on. But because I'm cosplaying as Dragon Man, we are going to get my ass kicked just a little bit. And look how much, like, damage he does to my stamina with those swings. It's so much. Ah! And this guy is a constant source of annoyance over here. I'm gonna deal with him now. He should die in one hit. Fucking arrow spamming bastard. He's over here protecting a soul. Here's the thing about the Tomb of the Giants. There's not a whole lot that I can actually say about the Tomb of the Giants lore-wise. Why? Why no song request? Because it's fucking lore souls. Anyway, lore-wise, there's just not a whole lot that I can say about this place. Mainly just, I do have to go over there and grab that, but that'll be... I have to go down here first. I mean, there's a couple things that I kind of glanced over, but in the beginning of the area, back up around the coffin where Pinwheel was, there is, I guess I should show it. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna activate this next bonfire real quick. And then afterwards, I will go show what I'm about to talk about. What? Ask him. Okay, so over here, we've got the item. Normally the Black Knight would be standing over here, but since the Black Knight has an awesomely long leash range, he kind of came over to us. And we've got this effigy shield. The effigy shield is pretty interesting. It's actually really interesting. And I'm glad that it's something here because it's one of the very, very, very few things in this area that's actually got lore tied to it. Why? What is this run anyway? It's lore, dude. Lore! Because lore is fun. Anyway, the effigy shield is a frightful occult shield. Defends against divine weapons and lightning. It is an ill-fated plot to destroy the very gods. The followers of the occult once attempted to steal the power of Gravelord Nito, the first of the dead. So this is another item that talks about the plot to fight the gods, which we had been talking about earlier. And it talks about stealing the power of Gravelord Nito, which, once again, we had information about that with the Rite of Kindling and people talking about stealing the power of Gravelord Nito where Pinwheel tried to do it. The thing is, we're never really told what the power of Gravelord Nito is, whether it's the Rite of Kindling or whether it's whatever sort of magic he's able to use to reanimate the dead and command them. It's kind of hard to exactly pinpoint what it is. It could be either of those, it could be neither of those, it could be some other nebulous power that we're never told about. But either way, this is just more credence that at some point a lot of people were kind of getting ready to throw a coup against the gods. Occult weapons there was an occult weapon earlier in the catacombs that had information on this, and we have more information about the power of the occult here. Petrus of Thorland actually has a little bit of cut dialogue that hints a little bit more about this, but unfortunately I could not find it exactly what it was when I was looking earlier. And it must not have been super important. There's the bonfire down there. You can just catch a peek of it right down there. That's where we're going to head next before I head back to the beginning of the area real quick. I believe it's the only bonfire that you can teleport to. I like how you can hear the breathing of the bone dog enemies. I mean, I don't know what else to call them other than bone dogs. Here he is, right below me. Look at him. Happy with himself that he's about to try and ambush me. With, hey look, we can see some beady little eyes over there in the darkness. Oh man, oh look. Look how happy he looks. He's just smiling away. Ah! Come here, son. Excuse me, sir. Sir, I'm gonna need you to come over here. I'm gonna need you to come right over here so I can smack you with this hammer before the other guy wakes up and notices that I exist. Oh, cool, we one-shot him. It's good being a dragon and being able to cast powerful magics, isn't it, guys? Yes, it is. Anyway, right over here. It's very, very easy to bypass this area because it's designed so that you can see this slope and this little area there, and that it looks like it tapers off here. Pretty clever design to mess you up. Anyway, I believe we can teleport to this bonfire, and if not, it's no big deal, as I don't plan to sit at anything anyway. There's a couple of things I intend to do before we get all the way to Nito. A couple of things I should have done earlier. First of all, I kind of need to join the Gravelord Covenant and throw a bunch of Eyes of Death at Nito. So if you enjoyed me throwing a bunch of Covenant items at Gwendolyn, you're gonna love throwing them at Nito, because it's just as fun. You know, I'm actually surprised we got through that area of the game without getting absolutely murdered by a bone dog, considering that in dragon form you have slightly more than base resistances and stuff, but you get, like, no natural poise, and your resistances are still shitty, and you can die in, like, 2 hits or 3 hits. I guess I have a pretty big health bar now. I, what, 40 vit now? So I can take a couple of hits. Smash. Put your shield down, sir. Oh. Oh. I'm actually surprised that his crappy little, red and white shield was able to defend him so much against my attack. Okay, those guys are done for. So, I think it's right down there, right? That should be where I need to go, I believe. Yeah, I think it's right down there. So if I fell on that, I'd be fine. And it should be in here. Yep. I remembered correctly. I have played this game once or twice. Hey look, it's the Titanite Demon that I never bothered to deal with because Titanite Demons are a pain in the ass. Anyway, you just chill over there, sir. I'm gonna have a good little sleep in the coffin. Comfy coffin. So, we did this a long time ago, where we nestled into this coffin, went down and talked to Nito. It's where I got that Gravelord sword in the first place. But this time when we go, I have a billion eyes of death to hand to him, because I have one more thing that I need to get from him. Unfortunate that it takes that long for a skeleton to come over and carry me down here. But, oh well. And this is a preview of an area we're going to come to later on. Very specifically, this is Nito's boss fight room, and we will talk more in depth about it later. Oh, look at Nito. He's so happy, rattling his bones and everything. Alright, let's join Covenant. I'm not going to be able to cast Darkmoon Blade because of this, but whatever. Okay, let's give him a shit ton of Eyes of Death. I think I only need to get to +1 to get what I need, so it should only be 10. But this animation is rather long. So, I guess I'll talk a little bit about the Gravelord Covenant while I'm here, and what it's about. The Gravelord Covenant allows you to invade other worlds with Eyes of Death, for the most part, and you can seed their world to add enemies to it and make it harder for them to go through. Along with, I think it increases the overall aggression of the enemies by a little bit more. It's mostly a New Game Plus kind of Covenant, though, mainly because if you play through the main game, Nito himself is the Covenant leader, as you can see up there, as he's hanging there, holding his sword and everything like that. Since Nito is the Covenant leader and you have to kill him for story progression, when he dies, the Covenant kind of ends. So, most of the time, Gravelord stuff would be done more on New Game Plus than anything, than on New Game. And there we go, Gravelord Greatsword Dance. That's all we needed. There you go, Nito. You rattle your bones in joy, and he's just gonna sit there like, thanks for the eyes. And he's gonna just shake his little bones everywhere. And let's take a quick peek at that miracle. It's way down here. So, Gravelord Greatsword Dance. Miracle known only by the servants of the first dead Gravelord Nito. This time they call him the first dead instead of the first of the dead. Maybe they're just trying to say the first dead, like the chief dead, head dead, the dead. Giant Gravelord swords jut out in the vicinity. Many have died, and many eyes were claimed to realize the Great Sword Dance, a Gravelord ritual known only by his closest servants. I mean, either many died or you just farmed basilisks, because basilisks drop the Eyes of Death naturally. Nestle back in here. Comfy. So, either or, whether it was basilisks or invading people in the Gravelord Covenant, we got a bunch of Eyes of Deaths. By the way, the Gravelord Covenant is probably the most fun invasion covenant because it changes the way the game works. It's not just a normal invasion. You add a bunch of enemies to stuff. You make a very unique experience for both yourself and the person you invade. Ooh, that's stored roll. Deja vu, I have been in this place before. Higher and higher. Alright, later. Seeing as they didn't want to stop rolling, I decided to stop them on my own. Anyways, there is something I want to look at over around here before I just bone back to the last bonfire. Specifically, there's some interesting stuff here. First off, you notice that there's all these prism stones and stuff around. It's very likely that these prism stones were left as guiding markers by Rhea of Thorland and her two friends Nico and Mushmouth. I forget the fucking guy's name. Sorry, it's Nico and Mushmouth as far as I'm concerned. And Petrus's haircut. They all have a cute little nickname. There's nothing over there. Darn. Well, I destroyed an innocent skeleton. Get wrecked, skeleton. Anyway, where is it? Let's just cast light and make life a little bit easier so I can pull my shield out. Somewhere around here. Thought it was over on this side, but it might be across this little thing here. Oh, yep, it's right here. So you can notice right here, there's some rope and a lantern left behind and a couple of spots that look like there were some bonfires made. Not like bonfires that you rest at as an undead, but bonfires used just for light, and a bowl here and a cup. And it looks like it's evidence of like a camp being made. And this is actually your first indication that Rhea and her crew have come through here. Look at that nice flat rope texture right there. Oh, it looks horrible. It looks like a freaking clip art. Don't look at it too close. FromSoft doesn't want you to. Anyway, this is supposed to be your like your first indication that those guys came down here and came through here, and that this is the way that you're supposed to be going in order to catch up to them. It's actually very subtle, and a lot of people just bypass it and don't even look at it, like I did the first time that we came through here. Just wanted to point that out, because it's neat. I'm going to breathe fire on the next skeleton we find, and we're going to die, so before we do that, I'm going to kindle this bonfire a couple times. I have infinity humanity if I truly need to. I truly want infinite humanity, I have it. Also, I kind of need to be a human. I do need to be a human for upcoming stuff to look at. So, while I'm kindling, I want to point out that it's really weird that Nito uses miracles. Like, Nito gives you miracles to use, which is really odd because miracles are supposed to be associated with the gods, which Nito obviously isn't a god. Nito is some weird giant skeleton thing. So you'd think that he would have like his own form of spell. You know, the witches get pyromancy, the gods get miracles, and Nito gets, I don't know, rituals or something like that. But instead they just kind of lump miracles in with them. Maybe they didn't have time to do anything else concerning Nito, so it's possible they had a plan for it, but just didn't get to it. Just something I always found really weird was the fact that Nito is associated with miracles. Oh shit, this guy's gonna aggro on me, I think. I want to breathe fire at him. Take this. Haha! Oh god, it did nothing! Being a dragon sucks! Take this! Oh, it kind of staggered him a tiny bit. And it comes out so slowly that it doesn't do anything. Are we done playing catch? Oh no! That attack is ridiculous. That attack is absolutely ridiculous. Literally, that attack is he fell on me. And it does insane amounts of damage. So yeah, this is why usually I come through here with a shield and a spear. Because I can hold the shield up and use the spear. But we're Dragon Man for the time being. Anyway, I'm not going to use dragon attacks because, as you can see by the 19 damage I did when I attacked that bone dog thing, it's not worth it. Why can't a giant skeleton be a god? Because he's a different race. He's an entirely different race from Gwyn. He has a different soul, and the souls dictate what race you are in this world. The whole reason why humans are humans and not gods, despite everyone coming originally from pygmies, all existence originally was pygmies, but those that got different souls became a different race. The witches got the soul of life. The gods got the soul of light. Humans have the soul of dark in them as their primary soul, and Nito has the soul of death. So, Nito casting miracles while not being a god is kind of weird. Kind of backwards. A little bit bass-ackwards. Oh god, there's 3 of them here. That's right. Oh, he's gonna fall on me. Look at how much stamina damage that does. It's kind of ridiculous. Crazy. So in the context of things that make sense, Nito casting miracles does not. I'm just gonna be a dragon and cast magic to end your life because I'm a dick. Because I'm a dick. Am I going backwards? I am. I got turned around. So, you'll notice when looking over there, some, first off, there should be another Black Knight around here somewhere. To be protecting, something important. But if you notice when looking over there, you'll notice a color scheme and some arch trees that look kind of familiar. You notice that's kind of Ash Lake-ish. Kind of interesting. Kind of really interesting. I guess it's one layer lower down here. Boop. Hello. Ding dong, housekeeping. Anyway, here we go. We can get a much, much better view of it now. Oh crap. Fuck it, I'm never going to use you. I need my binoculars. I need my bird watchers. I don't feel good about this unless we can take a closer look. There we go. Used to peer at distant scenery. Thanks, binoculars. So you can see the arch trees growing up towards the sky and everything like that. And the rays of light coming down and the fog and everything. And if you look down very much, you can see that it's just the lake part of Ash Lake. You can't see any of the physical ground. Okay, but him having the soul of death could easily be explained by him being the first dead. The way I understood that being was that the first that died, therefore he is the god of dead, and such requiring a different soul. Please feel free to correct me, just how I understood. No problem, Dragon of Leaves. I will talk about that a little bit more in depth a little bit later. For now, I just want to point out this Ash Lake looking area. is not actually Ash Lake, and it kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense where we are. Oh, hey, Paladin Leroy. I was not expecting him to invade quite yet, but this is why we're human. Our good friend Leroy here is going to attack us. And you can see that he does damage through our shield, because he has a little bit of holy damage and stuff. And when he is two-handing, he is actually a force to be reckoned with. But unfortunately, he is not resistant to backstabs. And, yeah, he dead. Bye, Leroy. So yeah, you can look down here, you don't see actual Ash Lake or anything like that. And the Ash Lake we look at, if we went into the model viewer and looked around, this is just under or just at the area where the Valley of Drakes would be if we were to look at it through the model viewer. So this is one of the very, very few instances in Dark Souls 1 where the actual world design doesn't fit properly and it's kind of cheated. There are, like, maybe 2 or 3 instances of this total where the world is actually cheated and doesn't actually work properly. But I think the whole reason that this is here, that this view is here, is supposed to be an indication that you have gone... The reason you can see Izalith is the same reason. It's an indication that you've gone so deep into the ground, so deep into the crust of the planet, that you're reaching back towards the Greylands, into the primordial world, towards kind of the core of existence. You've descended past the world of man in this kind of Asgardian, Midgardian world, or past the world of the gods, and into this more primordial, earthy world below, is the implication. Or at least the thing they're trying to portray to you. So Leroy's dad, he dropped us some humanity, and Grant and Sanctus, his equipment. Let's take a peek at those. Get to Sanctus first. Sanctus. A legendary weapon of the Way of the White, granted to an undead paladin long ago. Hooray. Once blessed with the protection of a white flame, but its power has all but faded, so that it provides only slight HP recovery. So, it kind of talks about this white flame thing here, which we never really see anything else about it, about this white flame, so this is the only thing there. I guess it's some sort of relic in Thorland, or maybe it's actually a physical white flame, but apparently it can be used to bless things, and the blessing it gives provided HP recovery, I guess, but as it says, the power of it is all but faded. It's kind of weird. I mean, was the shield on fire at some point, or is it just some sort of blessing? If Thorland has this kind of power, how come everything from Thorland, for those that come into this world, isn't blessed by this in the first place? Or is it just something that has a finite power, so they only use it for special occasions? It's not really expounded upon, it's just lore for the sake of lore. And let's find Grant. It's a hammer, so it should be pretty far down here. Shouldn't be too far up. There it is, Grant. Legendary weapon of the Way of the White, granted to an undead paladin long ago. This mass of iron can only be lifted by those within human strength, but it is blessed and very effective against Agent of Dark. So this one does have a blessing. It does extra holy damage to it, and it has a scaling in faith. Grant is actually a fucking good weapon overall. This is the reason why it was dealing damage through my shield. It takes 50 strength to wield and 30 faith to wield. But Grant is one of the best strength weapons out there and an incredibly good faith weapon. Jinx is now following. Thanks for the follow, Jinx. Glad to have you here. I hope you're enjoying the show right now. Welcome to the stream, dude. So yeah, if you're actually looking to do a faith build, like a strength faith build, Grant is by far one of the best weapons you can use. It is a powerful, powerful weapon. I could actually equip it if I wanted to. It has your standard hammer moveset. Just your vertical swings with your one hand, two hands, your kind of almost diagonal swing, and it casts, I believe that's actually Wrath of the Gods that it casts, if you have enough faith to wield it. Can't that just be another area similar to the Ash Lake? It totally could. But the thing is, Scatterbrain, our height in the world is what matters. And our height in the world is just under the Valley of Drakes. And if you look below the Valley of the Drakes into the ravine, you do not see an Ash Lake looking area or the tops of arch trees or anything like that. Again, this is flying through the world's model viewer. If we go through the world stacking on top of each other like this, looking out here, we should be able to see, looking up, the Valley of Drakes. Instead, we see all this. And look, that's just because I'm cheating and have looked through the model viewer and I'm a cheater. Like, you're not supposed to ever look at that, and this is supposed to be, they're supposed to be able to do their tricks and cheat like that. I just want to point out FromSoft's cheating ways so that when I cheat, you can't call me out on it because FromSoft cheats too. So yeah, interesting note about Paladin Leroy before we move on. You notice Paladin Leroy is right out here, and this is outside of the entrance to Nito's boss room. Why is a Paladin, a member of the Way of White, defending the entrance to Nito's boss fight? Is it because Paladin Leroy is defending Nito? Perhaps the gods... Perhaps they're trying to still honor this covenant with the gods that they had with Nito, where Nito isn't really an enemy and is seen a little bit more as an ally. Another thing that might lead to some information on that is an item we picked up a little bit earlier. This effigy shield. It talks about a plot to destroy the very gods, and it talks about how it's an occult shield that defends against divine weapons and lightning. So it's possible that deep here in the catacombs and the Tomb of the Giants, there was a cult of people moving together, trying to come up with a plan to destroy the gods, and Leroy was one of the people sent out here to try and deal with some of the occult shit and try and keep people from doing it. He might have even been sent out here after all of that occult shit and been told, make sure nobody else comes in here and starts anything like that, because we need to protect the gods, as we are agents of the gods. So it's possible he's here for that. I'm just trying... It seems like that would make the most sense to pinpoint why a paladin would just be hanging out here invading people as they walk towards Nito, right? Doop. So, first thing we're going to see here is an enemy I didn't talk about earlier when we first fought it, but I'd like to talk about now. These are called bone towers, very simply. And if you look at them up close, you see they're just a mass of writhing skeletal parts and maybe some flesh thrown in there and dirt that's been animated into this weird skeleton thing. And it begs the question, why did Nito make these things? Because Nito's the only thing that could have brought this thing to... that could have animated this thing and brought it to quote-unquote life. Like, it makes so little sense for this thing to exist. Nito's got this big group of skeletal remains and maybe bits of flesh and I don't know, dirt or whatever, and he can form them into literally whatever form he wants, and he chooses just to stack them on top of each other into this weird, disgusting pile of bones. I guess it just made him laugh. I guess he just threw them on top of each other and brought it to life and looked at it moving, and he's like, this shit's stupid. I'm gonna make a bunch of these. But it's got to be like the most ineffective enemy ever. I mean, look at that. It just falls all over flat on its face and then gets killed. I guess Nito just rattled his bones and... Nito doesn't talk. He rattles his bones in joy to express his joy. Oh, by the way, I want to point out the giant coffins that we passed through the Tomb of the Giants, those things are larger than any giants that we ever find. Like, much larger. Like, even the giant skeletons we fight in there, which are roughly the sizes of actual giants or a little bit smaller, are tiny. You can fit, like, 50 of those things inside of the coffins that we climb on top of to get down here. Why the hell are coffins that large in here? Is that how they buried the giants when they died? They just filled up a coffin with a shit ton of them? And then they were like, yep, that's fine. Aww. It's so cute. These bone towers are so dumb. They're the dumbest enemy. Giants are a shrinking breed? That's a possibility, I suppose. Oh, hey, look, it was a trap, and there was one behind me the whole time. Miyazaki's a huge fan of that trap, where it'll spawn one thing in front of you, and that's the thing you focus on, and then it spawns the exact same thing behind you. He's a big fan of that trap. Luckily, I know about it. So yeah, I just wanted to point out that the bone towers are, like, logically the dumbest enemy ever. By the way, you're supposed to pay attention to this guy that's shooting arrows at you. And then this guy kicks you off the ledge. That's the trap in between this area. Boop. And the bone tower spawns back behind you after disappearing. I mean, look at that thing. It just kind of gyrates, and that's its attack. That's its silly attack. What a silly, silly enemy. So, alright. We're about to enter the room right before Nito's boss room, and I'm going to equip the Ring of Fog real quick to make things just a little bit easier to look at and talk about. So, the first thing we're greeted with in this room is we see this visage of human skeletal remains all bowing towards the entrance to Nito's boss room, all bowing towards Nito in a way. But none of them are animated, which is the interesting part. It would be, like, from what we've seen, going through the catacombs and the Tomb of the Giants and everything else like that, it would be child's play for Nito to just have all of these skeletons animated and have them all able to walk around and attack you and defend them. But instead, none of them are able to move, none of them have any life in them or anything like that. Which means, and considering Nito's entire objective in life seems to be to get corpses and bring them to life and as skeletons for some reason, it's not really well expanded upon. This could point towards that whole stealing the power of the Gravelord from Nito thing. Because, as you can kind of barely see out there, there's a bunch of pinwheels out there. I think they're just there so that you can farm them for the masks, and because they wanted to have slightly harder enemies on the way to Nito. But it's quite possible that the occults and everyone that were trying to steal the power of Nito were trying to steal the power of animating skeletons, and in some way, they somewhat succeeded and were able to counteract Nito's power over the skeletons here in some sort of ritual. It's really hard to tell. It might just be, it's probably, more than likely, just some aesthetic stuff put here in order to make the, entrance to Nito look a little bit more opulent, more intimidating in a way. But, you know, I like to overanalyze things and try and make sense out of stuff where they were trying to make something out of absolutely nothing. So I'm going to say these guys were all sacrificed by occultists in some sort of ritual, and Nito can't bring them back to life because of that ritual. And that's why all these skeletons are here. These aren't the only kinds of skeletons we're going to face. Anyway, we've got these pinwheel guys. We need to deal with them relatively quickly because they can be painful and get out of hand. Ow. When there's a bunch of them attacking from multiple angles. By the way, each of these pinwheels can drop a mask of the father, mother, or child. Can drop any one of them. You weren't even looking at me, asshole. Oh well. Where is he? There he is. Dropping attack. Plunging attack. Yay. Oh, hey, a white titanite chunk. And now we see skeleton babies. And they hurt and inflict toxic buildup. They're assholes. These might be the only thing in here that I can kill with Dragonfire, so... You'll notice that, they continue spawning. Ow. Ow, I'm getting wrecked by skeleton babies. Anyway, skeleton babies spawn indefinitely. They are forever. They are permanent. Hi, Nito. Or Pinwheel. Number 4, 5, whatever. Anyway, skeleton babies will continue spawning forever and ever and ever down here in this, watery area. Which, if I'm going to overanalyze stuff, I might as well go all the way with overanalyzing. I'm gonna say had something to do with the rituals that the occultists were probably performing. So, there's any number of things you could say about the skeletons. Oh, thanks for the 10 bits, Dragon of Leaves. Anyway, there's any number of things you could say about these skeleton babies. I mean, you could say that maybe there's some sort of failed ritual, and the skeleton shrunk. Or you could say the much more likely thing, that they were infants or toddlers used in rituals, and they died in the rituals, but were brought back to life and given some sort of infinite health. Because what the occultists were probably trying to do, stealing the power of Nito, was, at least I think, it wasn't the Rite of Kindling, and it was more the ability to reanimate the dead. Which it seems that perhaps they were successful in such, and these infinitely spawning skeleton babies are the result of that. Just a possibility. Just a possibility. A bunch of souls to pick up. There is one important thing to pick up. I think it's back here. White titanite slab. So let's take a peek at that real quick. White titanite slab for weapon reinforcement. Legendary slabs were demanded gods. Reinforces divine weapons to +10, occult weapons to +5. So, once again, this has, they died in the rituals. I think it means people sacrificed their babies, and that's effed up. Yeah. I mean, I can also say it as they died in the rituals. But, anyway, once again, we're finding something related to the occult here in Nito's domain. And Paladin Leroy was out there, protecting the area. So, once again, I'm gonna assume that Leroy was protecting the area from occultists and people trying to get into the occult stuff. There's that other item. There is one thing I passed on my way down here, I think. Yeah, I passed the large divine ember, didn't I? Oh well. I'll grab it afterwards. We'll talk about it later. As for these skeleton babies, they drop a very steady supply of humanity. Once again, that's kind of an indication that these were humans at some point in time and sacrificed in a ritual, murdered in a ritual, whatever. This used to be the place, before the DLC existed, before you could go kill humanity phantoms, where you would go to farm humanity so that you had a million billion of them to pop anytime you wanted to. Because these guys drop it relatively consistently, and they're not too hard to kill. Then things changed with the advance of science and stuff. AKA the inclusion of the DLC made it so that it was much easier to get much easier to get the words. I can't say words properly. Much easier to farm humanity from humanity phantoms. Thank you. God damn. I can't talk well. I can't speak good. All right, so we're about to go face Nito. So a little bit of information about Nito. Nito's Japanese name is Bo Nito, which literally means King of the Graves Nito, Grave King Nito. So his name is essentially a direct translation. He's the only Covenant leader in the entire game that must be killed to progress the game. You can keep every single Covenant up except for the Gravelords, which I think is probably because they're such a special Covenant, and they affect the way the world works when you invade people with it. So I guess it's to make it so that you have to make a bigger commitment to get to use this Covenant, or maybe it's just poor design. But either way, Nito is known as the First of the Dead, and we've been hearing his name as the First of the Dead Nito, the First Dead, etc., over and over and over again. But what's hard to pinpoint is whether the First of the Dead means he was the first person to die, or was he a pygmy that found the soul of death and it transformed him into a dead person. Or he could even have been a conglomeration of multiple beings that died, and then the soul came to them and reanimated them into Nito. It's really hard to tell what it is because there's so little information on Nito. I really like Nito as a concept. Conceptually, Nito is a fucking awesome design. He's got this kind of cowl, this cloak of flowing dark death energy around him, which, according to Miyazaki, the animators could never quite get perfectly right for what Miyazaki wanted them to do. Originally, when he described it to them, they came back to him, and he was kind of covered in this miasma of smoke all around his body. He's like, no, not like that. It has to be a cloak, a cowl. It has to be look more like a physical thing around him, which we'll get a good view of very shortly. And Nito's probably going to kill me, considering I have no armor, but that'll be fine. We'll just come right back down. And so they reworked it a bunch of times until they got to where they are with Nito now, which, according to Miyazaki in an interview, he says looks a lot closer to what he wanted and is really good, but still not perfect. And it's really hard to convey what he actually wanted to happen in words, and he couldn't draw it himself, so. Let's go ahead and jump right in and get murdered by Nito and the Funky Bunch. Hey Zebra, what's up, by the way? Welcome to Lots of Lore Souls today. So, we get to see Nito again. Just sitting here, chilling. I mean, this is what Nito does all day with his day. He just sits in that coffin, doing nothing. Hanging out. But because he's like, no, you didn't take the coffin entrance. You walked down here. No, get out. I'm gonna have to kill you now. Bah! So Nito's all angry because we didn't take the coffin down here. By the way, I have the Ring of Fog on, so it's a lot harder for his skeletons and stuff to get to me. And, you know what, since I'm probably going to die anyway, let's take a look at Nito's attacks. He's got, basic big swipe. And interesting to point out, Nito builds up Toxic, just like the skeleton babies. Ow. Like I said, he builds up Toxic. We're Toxic. No big deal. And he also kills his own skeletons with his attacks. Gravelord Sword. Come on, give me what I want. Well, that's not exactly what I want, but that's cool too. Explosion! This is the big miasma of death that Nito released to destroy the bodies of the dragons. Yeah, grab me. That's what I wanted. Look at me. I kind of go ethereal and just get grabbed. Gives me a big ol' hot grabbing. I wanted to show off Nito's grab because not a lot of people show it off. I think it's pretty neat. Pretty neato. And the good thing about that attack is it destroys all of his skeletons. So if you're having a trouble with the skeletons, then get real close to Nito and just let him explode all over you. And he'll deal with the skeletons for you, like this. How nice of him. Oh shit, that's real bad. Ooh, I'm okay. Not dead. I thought I was getting real close to those two. Oh no, there's a third one. Oh shit, I thought there were only the two. I knew I was getting real close to the giant skeletons. I didn't want to activate them, but oh well. We're here. We're here now. This is our life. Gonna explode all over you, Nito. Alright, now it's his turn to explode all over us. Apple Pride! So you see, you can actually block that explosion. It does a little bit of damage through your shield, and if you have a good shield, it's not going to do too much. Ow. Stop hitting me. Bad skeletons. These skeletons are so entertaining. Skeletons are just the best. Anyway, I believe Nito's shown us everything he has to offer, so it's time to put him to sleep. Okay. His cloak is invincible. And thus, Nito is no more. You can actually see from his cloak that it's an actual kind of cloak. It's not like, it's not a miasma. It's not smoke or anything. It is almost like an actual piece of clothing that he's wearing. So, it's a nice, neat little thing. So, interesting to point out, there's a bonfire here. Why is there a bonfire here? Like, why are there multiple bonfires leading down here? Is it because Nito was a partner with the gods or anything like that? And as you know, bonfires need a firekeeper to some capacity to have existed there at some point in time in order to have been kindled and to have been maintained. Like, you can kind of argue that the bonfires all throughout Izalith are in some way connected to the Fair Lady. You can argue that the bonfires in the main Undead Burg and all over that area are connected to Anastasia. The bonfires, or possibly Anastasia and even one of the dead firekeepers, where you find her soul elsewhere. There were bonfires likely at one point in New Londo, which is why you find a firekeeper's soul there. So there was a firekeeper down here at some point in time. You even see there's this little tiny coffin over here next to Nito. Maybe there was a firekeeper here at some point in time. You know, Nito took her as a waifu. He had a firekeeper waifu down here, and he loved her. But then at some point in time, she disappeared. And then Nito was sad and alone, and that's why Nito doesn't speak to anyone. Because he misses his firekeeper waifu. Maybe that's what's going on. Hey Fluffy Bear, what's up? If we look in here inside Nito's coffin, he left behind some bones, some big skeleton bones and stuff. I don't know. Maybe they were snacks or pet projects he was putting together. Maybe he was adding them to his own bones. Just for some reason, he likes to sleep in a pile of bones. I don't know. Nito's kind of weird. Nito's a weird guy. And if we look a bit more throughout the arena, you notice that it is just a natural cave. But it's a natural cave with more, what would I say, advanced darkness, I guess? Because the darkness is, like, truly dark. There's no outside light that gets in here. It's dark in here, and you kind of have to have your own light source. So anyway, to go back to Dragon of Leaves' comment earlier about what Nito is as the first of the dead, whether he was just a normal a normal guy that died, or a group that died, or a pygmy that touched the soul and turned into a dead thing. It's unfortunate that I don't know. I actually have no answer for you on that one. Dragon of Leaves. I don't really have any more information than you do about that one because of the fact that there's just no information given to us. So, best I can figure, I would say that, perhaps at some point in time, it was a pygmy that touched the soul of death, and when he did... This is weird. Leroy's corpse isn't in here. It should be. Anyway, when he did, it transformed him into some weird skeleton creature. And from there, maybe he came upon some other beings and took them unto his own being, in order to look the way that he does now. Anyway, Paladin Leroy's set didn't drop in there like it should. I will go back in there in a second. By the way, you can see the demon ruins from here, and you can see the lava and everything like that. Interestingly enough, even though right over there is where the centipede demon would be hanging off of, if you look here before going to Izalith, the centipede demon is there. I think that this isn't the actual models for Izalith. I think this is a painting. Not 100% about that. I don't fully recall correctly. But it's definitely not the actual Izalith. It's just a representation of it. Alright, let's go back to Gravelord Nito. Oh, what? Do I not get... Altar of the Gravelord. There we go. I was about to say, do I not get the bonfire for some reason? Because I know you get a bonfire there. And hopefully Leroy's set will have spawned. There we go. I don't know why it didn't spawn the first time. The Paladin set. Hooray! Let's take a peek at that. Should be pretty low down here because it's a heavy set, so it should be closer to the bottom. Yep. Helm of Leroy, Paladin of the Catacombs, even though he shows up in the Tomb of the Giants. But whatever. Long ago, the Way of White produced its first undead, a paladin in golden armor. With the legendary treasures Grant and Sanctus, Leroy set out for Lordran, land of the gods, in the first undead mission of the Way of White. So it doesn't really explain what the first undead mission of the Way of White is. But what it does tell us is that Leroy was the first undead member of the Way of White. As we know, the Way of White, if we look at descriptions like the Lloyd's talismans and stuff like that, are hunters of the undead. They are adherents to the gods, and the gods are not fans of the undead. And the Way of the White, the clerics and whatnot, go out and hunt them down and either kill them or throw them into the Northern Undead Asylum or whatever asylum they want to throw them into. They pretty much remove them from general society as best they can. Right here in the outside world, the undead are accursed creatures, and Lloyd's cleric knights are widely praised for their undead hunts. So, Leroy, and by extension, the entire Way of the White, were supposed to be pure, you know, blessed by the gods. They're the clerics of the gods, the adherents to the gods. They can't possibly be undead. They can't possibly become undead or anything like that because they're holy. And then suddenly one of their paladins, one of their stronger guys, he wakes up one day and he's undead, I guess. I don't know. He's got that curse mark that shows up, you know, the brand from Berserk that Miyazaki copied over. And wound up undead. So the Way of the White is like, oh shit, no, we can't have that. We can't have that because we're we're supposed to be the way of the white. We're supposed to be the holy people. We can't possibly be tainted by this undead curse. We're blessed by the gods. So they're like, oh, okay, you know what? This was actually a blessing in disguise. The gods have blessed us with this, so that now you too can head to the world of Lordran and do what we cannot. You can commerce amongst the gods. And then they gave Leroy some equipment, and then they kicked him out as fast as they possibly could. And probably said nothing about it ever again to anyone important. Poor Leroy. I feel like Leroy probably got played for a chump, considering the fact that the only other undead members of the Way of the White we meet, which would be Petrus, Rhea, Nico, and Mushmouth, you know, the idiots of Thorland, they show up and they're on their holy mission to retrieve the Rite of Kindling, or the power of the Gravelord, whatever the fuck it is they were looking for, from the catacombs, or by extension the Tomb of the Giants if they couldn't find it. Which is just another way of saying the Way of the White sent them on a suicide mission in order to get rid of them. Ooh, that was quite a scream. So, Leroy's just another example of that, and he's even the first example. But he is, I guess, given a little bit more reverence in his existence, considering the fact that they, at the very least, do give him nice equipment and acknowledge the fact that he is a paladin. Anyway, I bypassed a pretty important item pickup when I went through the Tomb of the Giants. Very specifically, I bypassed the large divine ember pickup because I had thought that I had picked it up earlier, but now I'm questioning myself. So I'm just going to double check it. What's the lore behind fall control being OP? One day FromSoft guys were programming stuff, and they noticed that if you quit out just in time while you have fall control active, you don't die, and they said, fuck it, who's gonna figure that out anyway? Let's get this game shipped. Then it was. Yay! We're a bag of bones. I love that one bone just falling down. Bee. Hello. There's another one behind you. Oh, shit! Both of them at once. That's gonna be troublesome. Let's make it only one. Two at once is a little bit too much boner for me to handle. Let's see, then. Be around here somewhere. Oh no, I probably have to go up the other pathway. Alright, well, I might as well grab this piece of shit item while I'm here. One humanity! So amazing. It's not what I said last night. DS2 lore run next? Never. So it should be in here. Let's see. Yep, it's definitely in here. Where are these? I'm gonna take the Ring of Fog off. Demon Souls lore run? I'd be willing to do that, but I have no way to capture Demon Souls. Well, howdy, guys. Would you like a firestorm? I bet you would. Unfortunately, it did not erupt down below. That's dumb. You're dumb, video game. Alright, gotta be real careful with this. Use a camera to capture the game. Maybe the lava will go down. onto them. Didn't look like it did. Get over into this lava, asswipes. Hey, one of them did. Looks like I'm not going to be able to do that. Well, let's try this. Okay, that worked. You know, I did have another trick up my sleeve, and that one worked. Ooh, what a dodge. Look at that guy. What a pro. Alright, he's dead now. PS3 emulator? Sure. Here's my DS2 lore run. It's not very good. Alright, there was another guy up there, but I think he jumped down. Yeah, he jumped down. And this is our large divine ember being gripped by another Andre blacksmith, which I want to point out is really, really weird, because... Alright, think about it this way. Remember the, when we found the first stoned blacksmith up in the Darkroot Garden, when we found the first stone blacksmith up in Darkroot Garden, there was a moonlight butterfly there. There was evidence that he was creating stuff that might be go against the gods, that might be troublesome for Seath. So it would make sense for Seath to go up there and turn the guy to stone, because Seath can turn stuff to stone with his breath attack. Down here, it makes absolutely no sense for this to be here, considering the fact that basilisks don't spawn here, and they're the only other thing that can turn you to stone other than Seath. Meaning that Seath would have had to fly himself all the way down here into this giant coffin. By the way, this is one of those giant coffins I was talking about that's insanely large and makes no sense for how large it is, considering there is nothing in the game that we face that is large enough to fit in this coffin. So Seath flew himself all the way down here on wings of Pale Drake and turned this guy to stone. Or FromSoft just kind of reused the model because they weren't thinking very, very hard about the lore significance of it. But I prefer my thoughts about Seath flying down here like an idiot. I think it's way funnier that way. So yeah. And now we have that large divine ember, which let's take a peek at. Ember required for weapon ascension. Large divine ember of secret church rites. Intended for select divine blacksmiths. So secret church rites. It allows you to make a +5 divine weapon ascendant and allows reinforcement to +10. On par with the very weapons of the gods. Also, you notice there is all this blacksmith stuff to make it seem like this guy was smithing, but as is true with every single blacksmith in this game, he does not have a complete set of smithing equipment. He has no forge whatsoever to heat the things which he would have to work on, and he has nothing to cool it either. So, whatever. FromSoft is dumb, is what I'm getting at. You will notice that this does look like a very ritualistic coffin, since you have these mounds of skulls and goblets and candles all here. None of the candles lit. They're just here. I guess they went out over time. But it seems like some sort of ritual significance was held here at some point in time. Guess the gods had shitty weapons? Pretty much. They must have. I mean, when you get Ornstein's spear, right? And Ornstein's spear is terrible. It is really, really weak overall. And Artorias' weapons aren't very good, because their scaling is all over the place instead of being centralized into one, maybe two stats. And I guess Smo's weapon's actually pretty good. Smo's hammer is pretty decent. Oh wow, I burned through a lot of the durability on this. I guess I'll repair it. So yeah, plenty of indication that the gods had shitty-ass weapons overall, because they're so obsessed with their divine weaponry. So, we do have a new member of our Firelink Shrine friends to talk to, now that we have defeated Nito. We come over here, we get to find everyone's favorite pal, the lovable scamp.
Oh, we meet again. How many of you are there? You've come at the perfect time. I'm done with the looting. I'm a humble merchant now, and wondrous treasures have I, at a special price for you. There you are. Have a nice look at them. Oh, relax. No more funny business out of me, my friend.
And we get the prostration gesture. And we get to meet our good friend, our best friend in the world, Patches. Oh, look at him with his big shit-eating grin. He's always got that shit-eating grin. Doing the Patches squat because, I don't know, I guess he's Slavic.
Oh, there you are again. Well, welcome to Trusty Patches' Trove of Treasures. We chop prices, not limbs.
I love Patches. He is such a fine businessman. Let's talk
Here,
about it.
have you met that backwoods Shiva? Believe me on this one, bruv. The man is trouble.
Bruv.
I can see it in his eyes. I just can. No doubt about it. Watch him.
So Patches does give you a bit of good information about some of the other NPCs in the game. Shiva is of no matter to me anymore, considering I have brutally and efficiently murdered him and his friend for their dank rings. So I don't need to worry about him again. But he is... that's somewhat a holdover from old dialogue, back when Shiva had a quest that you could complete with him. Quite specifically, Shiva, if you showed him a Chaos Blade, would murder you, steal the Chaos Blade, and take it to the Painted World of Ariamis, where you could meet up with him. Instead, he kind of is just shifty, and that's about it.
Yeah. Have you met that sunbathing Solaire?
Yep.
Believe me on this one, bruv. He's a complete idiot. But he happens to be an awfully strong idiot. So just nod your head and keep him on your side.
So I like Patch's dialogue. Also, God, he laughs a long time. I like Patch's dialogue towards that. It reveals multiple things about not only himself, but also Solaire. First off, if you recall when we were talking with Solaire a while ago, he said that some people may think him a fool, and he very, very well may look a fool to other people. And while he may not want to look like one, he's perfectly fine with it. But as the game goes on more and more, he begins calling himself a fool, rather than thinking that other people see him that way. Solaire becomes a little bit more depressed with his life because of the way things go with him. And Patches kind of confirms that what Solaire's own fears, that other people are looking at him as sort of a fool, as a bit of an idiot in a way. Or at least Patches would be someone that would do so. So that kind of reveals that Solaire's own insecurities are somewhat confirmed by some other people throughout the world, and Solaire might have developed those insecurities not through himself, but through the influence of others that maybe had an outlook towards him, like Patches. Patches also reveals a bit of his own character, which is just he's a shit, but very specifically, he's an idiot, but Solaire's a super strong idiot, so, you know, just make buddy-buddy with him and don't get on his bad side.
Wait, have you met Petrus? That self-proclaimed cleric? Believe me on this one, bruv. The man is scum. Don't you be fooled by his claims to do good. They're all the same, those rotten clerics.
So, This, I actually want to pinpoint to maybe a bit of a possible backstory to Patches for this iteration of Patches in this game. He always calls you and himself jolly undead outcasts. He hates, absolutely despises clerics. If you tell him that you're a cleric, he immediately aggroes on you. He kicks you down the hole. He will not become a merchant for you. He'll attack you if you get out of the hole. If you start as a cleric, he will always be aggressive towards you. Patches hates clerics. And he calls himself an undead outcast. We know from all the stuff we've found out from cleric information, all the stuff that we, like the Paladin Leroy set and stuff like that, the Lloyd's Talismans, clerics hunt undead. It's quite possible that Patches, when he was back in the world of humans, became undead and was hunted by clerics. It's even possible that Patches might have been a cleric at one point in time and was kicked out and hunted by his own kind because he turned undead. That's kind of unlikely. It's more likely that Patches was a thief of some sort because he's such a shit now. But either way, it's very likely that Patches has such a hatred for clerics because he faced a lot of discrimination via the clerics and faced possible death at their hands multiple times.
Boy, have you met Lautrec the Embraced? Believe me on this one, bruv. He's completely mad. He wouldn't think twice about cutting somebody down. So watch out for him. Especially if you've humanity to spare.
Interesting thing about Patches. Patches does not lie to you on any of these matters. He says that Solaire's a bit of an idiot, but really strong and good to have on your side. He says that Shiva is shifty and someone that you should watch out for, which is very true, because Shiva, well, he is on your side, he has his own agenda, and if you fulfill certain requirements in the original version of the game, he betrays you and kills you. He says that Petrus of Thurland can't be trusted. Now, it's veiled under the thing of he hates clerics and all that, but Petrus actually can't be trusted. You leave Petrus alone for long enough, and he murders Ray of Thurland because he hates the aristocracy. And then he tells you Lautrec the Embraced is mad and would cut anyone down. Lautrec literally murders our firekeeper and steals to steal her soul, and then attacks us when we try and get it back.
I'm done with the looting. I'm a humble merchant now, and wondrous treasures have I.
So, surprisingly enough, Patches, trusty Patches, outside of, kicking you down a hole and trying to flip a bridge on you in the catacombs, if you go there early enough, is one of the most trustworthy NPCs out there for information. So his name does fit.
I'm done with the looting.
Alright, that's all he's got. And if you go to purchase items, he sells Eye of Death. Awesome to finally get a merchant to sell that after Nito is dead and you no longer have an actual use for it, other than the PvP uses for it. You don't have a Covenant use for it anymore. A couple Divine Blessings. It's likely he got these off of the corpses of clerics that he kicked down holes. Prism Stones. Patches obviously makes use of these to light up directions. He sells Humanity at 10,000 a pop. Very expensive. And he even sells Twin Humanities at 20,000 a pop. He has the Heal and Great Heal Excerpt Miracles. Again, he probably took these off of the corpses of clerics that he killed. And he has the Crescent Axe, which is the Blessed Weapons of the Way of the White. It is a cleric weapon. It does a little bit of extra holy damage and scales with faith. The Canvas Talisman, a Thurland Talisman, and a mace, all cleric equipment. And he even sells this cleric set, which was armor worn by the warrior clerics of the Way of White, who are famous for being unyielding in battle. It's rather substantial in size and weight, making its wearer look even bigger than he actually is. Very simple. It's just the set that Petrus and friends were wearing. There actually used to be a high cleric set in the game, which was actually an armor I believe you got off of Petrus of Thurland, or originally completing his quest line that they had in the game, or possibly even killing him. It actually had very balanced stats and everything like that. It was like just a little bit better than the cleric armor. I think it weighed a little bit more, but they removed it from the game for one reason or another. And he does sell Mask of the Father, Mask of the Mother, and Mask of the Child. So, let's take a look at these. One of the 3 masks of the Pinwheel. This mask belonging to the Valiant Father slightly raises equipment load. This mask belonging to the Kindly Mother slightly raises HP. And this mask belonging to the Naive Child slightly raises stamina recovery speed. AKA making the Mask of the Father good, the Mask of the Child good, and the Mask of the Mother non-existent. So we'll buy we'll have one of each available.
Right. Good stuff, eh? Don't you forget who got it for you.
Why are we laughing, Patches? You have a big nose, man.
Oh, there you are again. Well, welcome to Trusty Patch's Trove of Treasures. We chop prices, not limbs.
That's a great motto.
I'm done with the loot.
Yep, you're done.
What? Nothing appeals to you? Well, you must have poor taste.
So yeah, I do like Patch's kind of salesman spiel that he takes the second that he comes up here. Alrighty. So that is just about everything pertaining to the Tomb of the Giants. We've got one more little detail to deal with, and that will be done over at the Undead Parish. We have to go give that large divine ember over to Andre, because he'll say something and start jerking off about the ember and be like, please let me stick my dick in it. And we'll let him stick his dick in it. Sup, dog?
Oh, my.
Oh,
What a brilliant ember you have there. I've only heard legends of such specimens. The embers used for the secret rites of divine blacksmiths. Perhaps you could lend it to me. I've long dreamed of forging divine weapons.
So yeah, here you go. Splooge all over the place, Andre.
Splendid. Splendid. Thank you. Andre Restorer never disappoints. I assure you.
He says. I don't think he has any new dialogue.
Well, need anything? Oh, yes. It is said to help.
Nope, you got nothing to say. Nothing new important to say. Alright, guys. So, give me 2 seconds. I gotta do something really quick. I'll throw some music on for you so you don't get bored while I attend to a little business matter. Just a quick little business matter, and then we will be right back to it. Let me